Yes, it is our turn. Welcome to Outside the Box Open Forum with your host, yours truly, Kate of Gaia. Yes, the voice is lower than you're expecting if you've just tuned in for the first time. It's because I'm a tranny. Huh, imagine that. There you go. Truth, straight up and simple, can make it really easy and difficult for you at the same time, but I prefer just to be blatantly honest. And I'm going to have my own little disclaimer, I think. I guarantee you, and especially for those that have been tuned in for, in some cases, since my FM days, right, Vanessa? They will know that I don't pull any punches. I'm not out to be right, to be wrong, to make right or make wrong. I'm simply after one thing and one thing only, truth and its mirror. You got to look at both sides. You can't think something is a truth and not understand that it is equally a lie as well. So here's my disclaimer. The door to my show opens both ways. You can walk in. There isn't actually a door. You can just kind of like one of those open spaces things. You can walk in of your free will choice, and you can walk out. How cool is that? And that is simply based on the responsibility of self, you know. Because another part of the disclaimer is me, the host, may not necessarily share the views of the station or its affiliates. I assure you, my views may not sit well with you, the listener, either. But I'm not here to win popularity contests. Not my thing. I've been enticed into that particular game most of my life in terms of music and what have you. And quite frankly, that's not that's my mirror. I have no time for popularity. What I do have time for is truth and watching beings as they come into their own power, their own light, discarding all the illusions that are around them and seeing in themselves exactly what I see in them, and that is the most beautiful creative entity in this universe, struggling just like me to get back to that power force. And you know, we're in a little game here, and it's not an easy one. Well, listen, you're here. Give yourself a pat in the back. You're not going to pick a wimpy game now, are you? That's not your style. You see, because you're the best and the brightest this universe has to offer. And you're playing one of the most difficult, if not the most difficult game in the universe. And not everybody gets a chance to come here, I assure you, and especially if you've been rotating through this a few times. It's quite a game. It has many levels. And we're at a point right now where the culmination is at hand, or you get to stick another, dollar coin in the game and replay. Me, I've had my fill. I've had my fill. Hey, Michael, how are you? Good to have you.
Hey, Kate. Good to be here.
Absolutely. For those that have heard Michael on with me before, and you'll jump in whenever you feel like it. Michael is another radio host and has worked with Toxic Radio out of California, and knows his way around the truth. And yeah, just glad to have you hanging out with me tonight. This is great. We had a good chat this afternoon.
Oh yeah, it was nice.
Sorting out a few of the P's and Q's, as it were, and taking observations from a very neutral observation position. Yeah, and that's, for me, that's kind of where I have to be. You guys can be wherever you want. The thing is, if you pick one side or the other, you've already got a battle going on. I don't like battling. I just prefer to go, there's the red team, there's the blue team, and just to see how they're interacting with each other. And it's like you being the observer of a sport. You're watching the game, and you have a very big perspective of the game, a lot bigger than the actual player. And this is where we have to be. We have to become the spectators and get off that stage, get off that field for a little bit, and take an overview of the plays that are going on. And how many times have you watched something, be it in tennis or soccer, football, hockey, whatever the case may be? You can see something happening, and this could apply to anything. Full contact macrame. I don't care, whatever floats your boat. Okay, you can. Once you stand back and have a look at it, you can see the game in a much broader perspective, and you'll hear yourself saying, "Oh, if he or she had done this and got it to this player and this would have happened." But you see, because you get so embroiled in the game and you're on the field, you don't have the same perspective. And you're also dealing with the anxiety and the stress of playing the game, not only watching it. So we kind of have to do both. We have to see where we are on the field and then take that really broad perspective back, look at ourselves and the players around us, and see how you fit into that. And
we were talking about also being able to criticize yourself, your gameplay, or standing back and seeing what you've done wrong or what you
could have done better.
Exactly. Yeah.
How many times have you caught yourself saying, if I'd have done this, this would have happened. If I'd have said this could have been, or if I hadn't have said that, and you can go all through these scenarios, and pick yourself apart, but you don't have to. What you need to do, for me, is I look at it. Okay, I could have done that better, or wow, did I ever get that one bang on? I look at it and go, I could have done that better. So if I'm ever confronted in a similar situation, I have a new understanding of what I won't do and what I will do. And I just integrate that into situations in the now, and I stay in the now as much as I can. So that's just a little something to share. But I assure you, and I will say this every night, probably from now on, that a lot of things that I will share with you will not sit well. They will not. So, get ready for that. And that's why I say put the seatbelts on. Because I'll tell you, a lot of the things that I'm going to share with you are the exact same things that I had to confront with me, that I had to go kicking and screaming like a wild horse to figure it out. And I had to drag myself into the fray and out of it. And then accordingly look in the mirror to see what was really going on from both perspectives of me, right? How many
not easy to do.
No, it's not. It's actually the hardest thing. It's a very simple concept, but it is the hardest thing to do. I think with me, I'll toss this out. And by the way, anyone that wants to jump in tonight, it is open forum. I do want do a bit of etymology fun. Riso had asked me about the word subject in a Facebook message, which is interesting. What a coincidence. Because that was one of the very first words that I ever looked at, of course, from the court perspective of, I object. And then I thought, okay, well, I know that ob is a prefix that means to go against or to throw against something. It's an interesting, it's like obsession. Right? There we go. When you have an obsession, you have... See, here's where the word obsession, and I might as well just touch on this right now, and then we'll roll back into a couple other things. But the word obsession, as you hear it, is a very, very neat word. I've got a few others that I want to share tonight too, just to start people starting to listen. And that's what I'm trying to do, is get you to listen to the sounds in conjunction with seeing the spells. And you'll really start to get an idea of what you've been saying, and then the more you realize this, the more you just want to shut up. Promise. So the word ob is to throw against. Let me just bring up the prefix here, because I kept my etymology open just for shits and giggles. And this can be considered a family show, but it's a pretty intense family show. It's not. This isn't Sunday night on Disney, boys and girls. Okay. But it certainly will take you into Ozland. And by the way, Rory, thank you so much for that poster you did the other day. Oh my God, that was so cool. Picture of Dorothy, and I was just, you do that, and you're magical with regards to it. Okay, I just want to go back to ob. I have sub here because I'll bring that one back up. Now, come on, there we go. All right, so let's go to ob as a prefix, the etymology. Now, as you know, the word ses, I don't care how you spell it, C-E-S-S, S-E-S-S, S-E-S. Anything that has a ses sound means tax. It's Latin. Okay? So when you have ob, ses, shun, there's obviously a shunning of it, but when you look at the T-I-O-N, which you will find most at the end of words, has the same sound as S-I-O-N, which is interesting, because one is a T ion, the other one is an S ion, which is effectively the same thing, because the S is half of infinity. You just have to put the S in the mirror against itself, and you'll see infinity, 8. Okay, but it's also the Kundalini, feminine divine energy. That's the spiral of creation, kind of laid out in a two-dimensional form. So it's a very powerful sigil. Of course, T means love. The note, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. T, and the only thing that can conquer the law, society, is love. Admire all T, to bog down all love. Of course, now you got a better clue. All right, so ab means this. It means toward, against, across, or down. Okay, so it's an active prefix. So when we put it into ject, which is a root word of jet, which is the black or the dark. That's why you hear the term jet black, right? Excuse me. And I was going through this with Michael earlier when I was on the call with him, because this is one of the early ones, and I was having because this was a major one for me in terms of starting to bust words apart. Probably one of the first 5 to 10 words I ever started breaking up etymologically. So what we have is to go against the dark or creation. So when you object, that's what you're doing. You're going against that. That's why, and it came up with me because you'll hear that, commonly in court and stuff like that. I object, or objection. Objection is completely different than object. I object, which is of course a verb, and I have an objection is a verb. So they're both verbs, but they mean totally the opposite thing. You have an objection, you're shunning it, or you're with it. So what are you really trying to say? That's why they got you spinning backwards and forwards. And legalese, as I was saying to Michael earlier, was one of the first rabbit holes, if you will, that it went off onto, because I knew that in legalese they had different meanings for commonly understood words, which I thought was a perfect. After a little while, it didn't take long, it only took a couple of weeks, but after a little while, I started to realize that, all right, well, I'm down this rabbit hole, and of course I had to go there because I had an inkling that words did not mean in court what they mean, and we all knew that. I just wanted to get a lot more nitty-gritty to it, and then I thought, okay, I'm here. I know why I'm here. Now, why would somebody else want me to be here to distract me? So something has to be a whole lot deeper in that, yeah, they're telling you up front that the words don't mean exactly in court what they mean in real life. So I thought to myself, well, what a perfect way to distract somebody by keeping them in this little legalese loop. So I thought, well, then what they're trying to hide is the fact that none of the words mean that. So I'm not even just going to, at that point I said, well, legalese is bullshit. It's designed to trap you. I don't need to go any further. It's pretty simple. It's just like, why would you want to try to prove the dishonor of a judge or a lawyer or whatever when it's quite obvious? You don't have to prove shit. You can see it by their actions, okay? What I had to prove was the mirror. Well, how am I in a greater dishonor, and how are they controlling me under universal law? Not man-made shit. And this is where most people get caught down in the quagmire. They get tied up in all sorts of legal stuff and all the rest of it. Now, some people, and I like to preface this as well, some people have a very specific job using that quagmire against itself. And those are very few and far between. And I'm talking about individuals that go in with the intent to dismantle it, not to win their particular case or to show others how to do it. It's about dismantling it. And that's a rare breed altogether. I know a lot of people that can walk into a courtroom and hold their own, and the court will let them, because the longer they keep these very intelligent people thinking they're winning, the longer they'll own them by their ego. So it wasn't about winning with me, it was about dismantling. I would never get caught in that. Just the nature of me. So getting back to objects, so there you go, to go against the dark, and to go against the dark, shun. Okay, so one means one thing, one means the other, but you actually think you're saying the same thing. You're not. So let's go to subject. And sub as a prefix is another very interesting prefix. They all are, actually, and they all mean they're equal and opposite. This is the point I'm trying to illustrate tonight. Now, the word sub, as soon as it comes up here, from Latin it means under, like submarine, of course, underwater, right? I want to cover hypnosis too, by the way. I'm going to show you both sides of that coin. So here we go. It means under. Now, I'm going to read the actual etymological definition of sub as it has evolved. And I want to show you, just by reading this alone, you'll see how something that you thought meant under actually came from something meaning up or over. I'm not kidding. Check this out. So it's a word-forming element meaning under, from Latin preposition sub, under, which also means close to, up to, and towards, from a variant form of sup, S in brackets, UP, perhaps representing X or upo of a root, upo from below, hence turning upward. So in order to turn upward, you must be below. So this is the mirror part of it. So you're turning upward, upward, up, up, from under, over, beyond. So now sub means the opposite. Near, under, up to, and on. So now it means all of those things, above and below. From Greek, hypo, under, Gothic, I up, Old Norse, Old English, up, up, upward, and Hittite, up, Z, rises, right? Upsy daisy, you've heard that one? Well, that's a Hittite word, Z, Z-I. Used as a prefix and in various combinations. So you can only imagine what any word that has sub in front of it, what it can mean. It can mean the same and opposite of what your intent is. And that's the true trickery of the language. That's why this language was set up the way it was. Because it has to be in perfect creation. It must be as above, so below. And this is a very difficult concept for people to grasp. Because you're either dealing with as above, or you're either dealing with as below, and you're not seeing both at the same time. This was something that took me a while to really work my way into, and I'm still doing it. Every single day, I'll catch little words like prophecy or pro-phi-psi, right? Prophecy. Which, when you start understanding what prophecy is, I'll show you how the Bible is a prophetic book, whereas the soul is a history book. It was written. It's a game plan. I'm going to bring that into the fray tonight. Now, there's the word subject. So it's either under black or over black in terms of dark, the void of creation. That's why it's a very particular word, ject from jet. There's a lot of other things that can go into it, but I really wanted to get down to the nitty-gritty on that one where it rang a bell of bells for me. So let's get into hypnosis. Okay, now, as you see, Greek hypo means under. Then we have hip or hypognosis, which means under knowledge, gnosis, to know. And then we have hypergnosis, which means over knowledge. So what does hypnosis or hypnosis really mean when you're saying that word? It means both, as above, so below. The only thing that changes in everything we do is but one little tiny thing. Intent. Most of us don't understand our own intent, though, because, well, that's what I meant, and you know what you meant, but that was based in a dualistic perspective. Now that you know that words mean it's equal and opposite, your intent is pure. Right? When you know that up means down and down means up, now you understand the full ramification of what you're saying. Just from that alone, it is that simple. You don't need to do what I do. I've done what I've done to show you this simplicity, which is, it's not easy to grasp, but because everyone, me included, all of us have been so indoctrinated for so very long into understanding things in a certain pre-programmed way. So when you say hypnosis, the common understanding is that you're going to be put under knowledge to find the knowledge, right? As in hypnotized. But remember, when one is hypnotized, one is actually, or Gnostic versus hyper-Gnostic, they both end up with the same result. That's a singularity. So when you find the duality, you find the singularity. The equal and opposite means singularity. Can you see both sides of the coin? And I've used the example before of tossing a coin in the air, calling head of the dragon or tail of the dragon. And when it hits the floor, someone will say, oh, it's heads. And I'll say, no, it's a coin. Just because you can't see the tail don't mean it's there. Just like an iceberg, right? Just because you see the top of the iceberg doesn't mean to say you've seen it all, because most of that iceberg is under the water. You wouldn't be a very good sea captain if you thought otherwise, right? So, but for those in the call right now, if you want to join in, which I'd love you to do, just hit 1 on your keypad. And of course, if you've called in on, or if you want to call in Skype, just refresh the page that you're on listening, and the Skype button will appear, and you can call in. If you want to get into the call as far as asking questions, just open up the keypad on Skype by hitting the plus sign that you'll see when you put your mouse over Oh, when you know what I mean. If you're familiar with Skype at all, as soon as you put your mouse up over your picture or the picture of someone you're talking to, another bar opens up. There's a plus symbol there. Hit that. It opens the keypad. Push 1 there, and that'll get you in the call.
I like your explanation on hypnosis, because in the indoctrination, Kate, it seemed kind of like maybe were we hypnotized in a sense?
Oh, absolutely.
The language.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go back to last night again with regards to the equal and opposite. As I was talking to you today about cutting that chocolate bar in half. You know, if you were the one to cut the chocolate bar in half and were able to choose, chances are your half would be a little bit oxymoronic bigger. You'd have a bigger half, which is an oxymoronic statement, right? But if you knew that you're the one cutting it and the other one was the one to choose from it, you would be like so
a laser out to get cut it.
Exactly. You would be getting out with a micrometer and laser gauges to make sure it was absolutely perfect. You'd have the scales on it going, okay, yeah, this is 20.64483 grams, and both sides better be the same. Okay, so that makes it for a perfect 0 point. Right, that's what a 0 point is a perfect center of balance in both sides of it. So, as I mentioned last night, what feels right and what thinks right for me is that we, as the ourself, split in two to have a game, in order to not be so lonely. And being all-knowing, you can do these things, right? So we divide ourselves in two, and here goes the fireworks again.
Oh, it's still shooting over there.
Oh yeah, well, it's May 2-4 weekend. They love their Queen Victoria master-slave kind of thing. Yeah, that's crazy. But one side of us is all-knowing with no power, and the only way to balance that out is to give the other side all the unknowing, but give them all the power. Like in a court, the judge is the most powerless entity in there, and the clerk is the most powerful. Judge appears to be the strongest, and I'm the ruler in the room, but he's not, or she's not. It's actually the clerk, and they don't know it. So it's a perfect place to hide the lie. Put it in the mirror. Put it in plain sight too, right? Because you won't see a courtroom without a clerk. The clerk is the most powerful in there because they're the ones taking the energy, money, skin, whatever you want to call it, like all fiat currency. Anyone that's chasing it with the intent of gathering it up just for their own, wealth or whatever, are just gathering up skin of their fellow brothers and sisters. Not something I would do to cannibalize, right? So I'm very, very specific when it comes to any money and its use, because you're dealing literally with the flesh of your fellow brothers and sisters. And I'm going to touch on opt a little bit too. I need to really just knock that bullshit right out of the park, because it's another COINTELPRO, and I'm going to explain how COINTELPRO works and what the modus operandi is. It's very, very easy.
Yes.
Oh, it's incredibly easy. Here, I'll ask a few questions right now for people, and then we'll get into some more words. I want to cover prophecy and the Bible as a concept. All right, so here's a few things that I want you to ask yourself, and I want you to see if any of these questions will apply to you. Are you even remotely awake and know that something wrong is going on and that you want to do something to change it? That's one. Two, have you been in the fray for a while, be it weeks, days, years, decades, and do you have a feeling of, I won't call it despair, but it's like, when is this going to end? When is this bullshit going to be over? If you have that feeling, these are questions you need to ask yourself.
I think many would say yes.
Yeah.
Probably.
Right. Three, are you in dire straits? Have you been put through the mill with the system because of what you knew? Many of us have. Four, if you saw something that looked very promising to make all your dreams come true in terms of the physical Whore of Babylon world, would that appeal to you? Would that reach out and touch someone? Okay? And if you answered yes to these questions, you are a perfect target for a dragnet of COINTELPRO. Because those that are awake, The only ones that are dangerous to this system are the ones that are awake and to any degree, and are starting to make waves in their control system. So if they can't beat you, you know the old saying, if you can't beat them, join them. Well, they work that backwards, right? If we can't beat them, make them join us. And 3 steps of control: buy you. Okay, do you have a price? If you do, you're done. If you don't have a price, then they'll hit you with low-level conflict, and that can come in many forms. You know, stealing homes, families, ability to make income, degrade you in the media, all manner of attacks that are absolute bullshit, and you know it. But they do that anyway because they want to break your spirit and your means, rip out all support systems underneath you, so that for you to continue would take an incredible choice of will to move on and keep going. Now, 3 is a very particular one, because if you still keep going after phase 2 and you don't know who you are, phase 3, they can take you out. But here's the catch with phase 3. If you do know who you are, they can't. That's a fact. I've said this many times on the air, and I said it to you again today, Michael. Honestly, I would consider myself an extreme threat to their system. 7 nights a week, I would call myself an extreme threat. I'm very vocal about it. I'm not a whistleblower. I'm a foghorn.
No, I would agree with that.
That would make me, I think, a prime target. So if I were a prime target and one that they would want to shut up, and especially with the emails I send out to the people I send it to, do you not honestly think for 1 minute that they wouldn't have taken me out by now? I'll tell you why they haven't, because they can't. Because there's a certain point that you reach in your awareness, and it's that point of peace within, that you know who you are and that you have no vengeance. You're merely seeking truth to get to the end of the game. That's what changes. That's why they take out, astronomy scientists. That's why they take out vaccine scientists, because all these people have been working for them. They're in contract with them. They can do whatever they want with their slaves, in complete honor. So don't be surprised when someone gets taken out. It's a matter
if they're in the system already, I mean, you can wake up, and they'll just be fine with that. But don't be a senator, and God forbid, awaken and share your philosophies of being awake. And those are the ones that disappear. Seems like.
Yeah, because they're part and parcel to the system. Anyone that is within their system. Well, look at the $20 million club in music. Those are the ones that go through a ritual where someone close to them has to actually be sacrificed in order to join the quote $20 million club.
You passed on that one, I think.
Yeah, well, I in terms of that, I kind of failed miserably on gimme scale. Yeah. Here, look, you can have this. We just want your firstborn and the other thousands to come with it. And I said, no, thanks. My children aren't for sale, buddy, nor am I. So listen, you have a great day, and thanks for the once in a lifetime opportunity to take my music to the world. See, here's the thing, and I think this is kind of funny. I'm guessing on a different timeline that I might have made that other choice. Right? Of course, multiverse, right? And to my own detriment. So this timeline, no. I've decided a different path, and I just walked away. So that's where you need to be. For me, that's where I need it to be. I need it to be not able to be bought and paid for. I saw an interesting thing today as well, and excuse me. I'm going to be very gentle about this, but I'm going to be very truthful about it, because I'm going to explain it from a different perspective, and one of experience, by the way. I will add that in there. I've seen another COINTELPRO attempt. Didn't watch the video, didn't need to. The title said everything I needed to know. And when you can start looking at things from a very neutral non-politically correct because I don't give a shit. I don't. I've said it before. I don't care what color you are, what religion you are, what creed, gender, sex, whatever. I don't give a shit. You're an asshole. You're an asshole. I don't give you the right to hide behind something. If you're duped, you're duped. Male, female, white, black, red, orange, pink. I don't give a shit. Alien, earthling, doesn't matter. Okay. So keep that in mind. This is how I look at things. I don't believe in divisive things like multiculturalism and segregation and labels. Sorry, but let's put things where they are in perspective in this 3D realm right now. This thing I saw was I guess it was a native Australian that was talking about Opt, and I haven't seen it yet. I'll probably watch it for a laugh because Opt is COINTELPRO perfectly, because the questions I ask, they fulfill all those, so they get everyone chomping on their carrots. Mm-hmm. So hey, look, I can get all the money I need in the whole world, and I'm going to use it for good. No, that's exactly
shortcut to saying.
Well, yeah, and not only that, and there are the genuine people that will say, I'm going to use that for good and everything else, and they're exactly the ones they want. Mm-hmm. Because they want to capture the purest hearts they can, and they'll do it. And they'll use all manner of carrots to do it, and they do a good job of it. So my first reaction to this little video was, well, I'll tell you right now, someone promoting COINTELPRO, especially in native, and I don't care what country on this planet or what region they're from, any native that is operating within the system isn't a native to me. They're part of the system, because if they were native, they wouldn't be talking about Opt.
Right.
Okay? That's not purity to me. I've met pure natives that want nothing to do with it. And then I've met other ones that they're quite happy to live with the trinkets and baubles of the white man, and I met many that were far more white than I could ever dream of being in terms of that.
Do you find that people just kind of battle with themselves about mm-hmm. being in the system and being out of it, as opposed to just what you're trying to do is kind of make them aware of what it is, they're in, because we're all in part of the system, either born into or whatever, and people have troubles with that. I see a lot of battles back and forth with, you're doing this, and you've got to be a part of that, and
Well, yeah, I mean, these are okay. Yeah, no problem. Just I've got a Skype in there. The thing is, what I saw mostly, and it wasn't so much of being bought and paid for, and as much as they wouldn't give up the comforts of the white man world.
Yeah.
Like you ask any of the natives if they would go back to if everything was cleared out, would they go back to their natural ways? And you'd be surprised at how few would.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
So therein lies the problem. I mean, the trinkets are still doing the magic. If you want to stop an advancing native army, it's easy. Just hand them a government check. Mm-hmm. And give them trinkets and baubles. They did that, and that's how they tricked them to begin with. So it's the same ploy used over and over and over again. And again, this is not a make less of. This is just an observation of, okay, we're trapped. How did that happen? Well, there it is. And it's very easy to get caught in that comfort zone of somebody coming over and literally being your savior. I mean, we can look at technology in the same way. We have washing machines, so we don't have to go down to the river and, grind our clothes on stone. Okay? So that is a savior in essence. Having running water is another savior. Look at all the different little things that we call luxuries or things that help us, better, but they're in effect all variations of savior from having to do it the hard way ourselves. Yeah. So everything has been taken. Our ability to do things has been taken away from us, which is, for me, the really, really sad thing. And
it's like going camping. After 3 days of camping, everybody wants to go camping, but after 3 days, it's like, I want to go back to a shower and running water and heat and electricity and creature comforts again.
Civilization. It's kind of scary. But okay, there we go. So I'm just going through my Skype to see what we got going on here. I do try to keep an eye on the Skype room at least. And the problem is with me, as soon as I get into zone, the eyes close, so I'm not reading. Okay, guys. So I got to play catch up all night. But for me, these are very, very important things that we need to look at for ourselves. And are we bought with our comfort? And can we be bought even more with greater comfort? And for me, yeah, I got to tell you, living in the tent is fun. But it can get very cold and very wet, and without the proper things to do. And that's one of the reasons why the system did its damnedest to marginalize me, and it ripped out every support element underneath me, where I was constantly scrambling. And I have to say that of all the people, when I was at the studio, I was asked if a certain individual got a hold of me, and I said, no, they didn't get a hold of me. Why would they? And I said, what do you mean? I said, they got everything they ever wanted out of me. They don't need me. They got everything. So, they got what they needed. And after that, I don't matter, because there's nothing more that they can get from me. And this is the way our society has turned against itself. And that, again, is not a make wrong. That's an observation of program. Can we see it? And can we break free of it? And this one gets a little bit tougher as we go along, but there's so many things that we cannot let go of, that I am very fortunate in that I was dispossessed of those things that were possessing me. Now I see them differently. Now they can possess somebody else, because I know fully what they are. I know fully how we got duped. And there's only one problem that they have now, because all of it was fraud. There's this thing about stolen energy, where there was intent to steal. You see, the lowest form of life to me in the universe is a thief. That's a parasite.
The absolute worst.
Well, yeah, and everything, if you want to term it in terms of evil, Mark Passio touched on it with us the one night. Everything that is evil always comes back to one thing: theft. Theft of energy, theft of, concepts, theft of love, theft of, you name it. It all comes back to theft. Something was taken from another being without their consent.
Yeah.
That's why what the system does to us, they're doing it under universal law, if you could see it. They're not stealing the damn thing until you realize who you are. And then, of course, it is theft. It feels like theft, it looks like theft, and it quacks like theft, but it's not quite a duck. It's awful close. It's a mechanical duck, let's call it that. What I did was I found the duck itself, and I'm plucking all the feathers off it, figuratively. I would never do that to a duck.
Mm-hmm.
I love ducks. By the way, when I started the show there, it was kind of cute. I had a mourning dove sitting on the rail beside me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was able to go, hey, how's it going? He's kind of looking at me, and, didn't fly away or anything. I got out, had to go in and grab something and come back out. And it stayed there, but again, there's no threat here. And I just said hi, and we hung out there for a bit, and then I guess had enough, and it moved on from here. So,
do you think people need to do more of that, of kind of unplug themselves from things sometimes? I mean, I got out today. I know we talked earlier, and I got out outdoors and felt great and all, and I was like, wow, it's just, we're close to summer. You feel the sweat. You feel the summer of life all around, and, maybe some people out there need that now,
Well, for sure. Now, and I'm glad you brought this up, because what we're dealing with now is, how can you see that as evil?
Right. There you go.
Okay? And now you see the web of this trap. Okay? We all get drawn into it. Oh, yeah, I came out here this morning, and by the way, I have to share with everybody, I've been feeling like I've been recovering from the flu all day. Actually had to lie down for a couple hours this afternoon. Not that I had it, it's just, that feeling after, 3 or 4 days, and you're, 'cause I remember this from when I was a little kid, just that sort of feeling overall, and you're a bit groggy, you're a bit sluggish, and you've just got that lightness about you and what have you. I've been dealing with that all day, so...
That's described as that ugh.
Yeah, so I'm kind of in that bleh, meh kind of thing, so if I sound a bit sporadic, it's just be amazed that I can talk coherently tonight. But anyway, where were we there?
Getting out and enjoying
the evil of being out, and in the trap. So let's show you the trap from the other side. Because I'll tell you, that which really, really feels good has the most important thing captured that you have. It has your attention, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Okay, well,
You got me.
well, here it is. If you were flowing all this, I love this, I love this, I love this, towards something that is your trap, how intense do you think the trap would become? If you love your own captor, right? What do they call that? Stockholm Syndrome?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're all suffering from, Stockholm Syndrome. Because I'm going to be, in the next few days, talking in greater detail about how great the Kybalion Hermetics Emerald Tablets of Thoth is. And then I'm going to show you its mirror of how evil it is. And can you see it? And only when you can see both sides of it will you start to unravel what I see of this web that we get caught in. If you consider, a fly getting caught in better yet, let's go to the Black Widow. The male comes to mate with the female. We'll call her the Whore of Babylon, and of course, the male gives the creation that is required in that. And generally, what happens to the male? He gets eaten.
So, would you say also when you're looking at beauty, then also pay attention to the ugly?
Mm-hmm. At the same time, because here's the let's look at the Black Widow, male and female. What you have there is this intention of creation by the male, and will do anything to be that. And I've talked in the past. I think I should clarify this even more. When I speak of the male as a separate thing from female, and both ways, vice versa, that which cannot self-procreate is actually an abomination in the natural order of things. So it is always made subservient and will always create an animosity. Because a male, I'll give you a joke to describe it. Little boy and little girl are standing naked in front of each other, and little boy looks down and he says, "Ha ha ha! I've got one of these and you don't." And she looks at him and says, "Yeah, well, with one of these, I can get as many of those as I want." Right? So, yeah, a lot of truth in little jokes, right? So, now, with that in mind, that puts the male in a very, I'll use the term, but please don't take me so literally. I'm just trying to conceptualize here. Puts the male in a perceived inferior status. Thus, look at our system. If you look at our system the way it's built, who is considered to be the inferior status according to their religions and their governments and courts and everything else? The female. Right? So where are you going to hide the power? Well, you're going to hide it in the one that thinks it's not.
Oh, I see.
All right, and the true divine feminine creation is where the power is, and every bit of consciousness has it. Male, female, has everything of both. That was, for me, the divide and conquer, where the intention and creation were divided. And we're literally at war with each other. There you have the all-knowing with no power fighting against the all-unknowing with all the power of creation. So what would the all-knowing, being all-knowing, want to do with the dummy who has all the marbles? Well, they're going to try to take the marbles, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Just makes sense.
Like the positive and negative. If you look at the positive, look at the negative in the positive, and when you look at the negative, look at the positive in that.
They're both the same.
Like a giant magnet. You'd think, oh, I got this giant magnet, and I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to attract all this stuff, and then you realize, oh, shit, I'm attracting all this stuff. And then so you shut it off, and then you repel it and turn on the negative, and then it repels everything, and it's like, oh, shit,
Yeah, well, go back to the most perfect example of visually that I've ever seen anyone do it, and they nailed it. They saw the hidden 0 point within magnetism was, what's his name, David LaPointe.
Yeah.
Primer fields, or primer fields. I call it primer. It's primer the way it's spelled. Most people would assume that. On YouTube, episodes 1, 2, and 3 are up there. I'm going to go check tonight, see if 4 is up yet, or 5. And all you need to really do, actually, for me, to get this concept is just watch the first one. And we'll actually have to watch the second because he shows where the 0 point is. But that's it, not nailed. Every magnet has a, quote, north and south pole, an equal and opposite, in the same unit, like a coin has a head and a tail, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still part of the same thing, though. It's actually a singularity. So, what was I going to say there? Oh, just checking.
Wow, the right side of my headphones all of a sudden came on.
Isn't that funny though?
It was a little wire, like you said.
It is too. But I for people to, if you want to really start seeing things, at least this is what worked for me. Start looking at something. Look at it the way you always have, then look at it from its complete opposite. Because for me, if I was going to hide something, I would hide it in the most obvious place where someone would never think to look.
Oh yeah, the best place ever.
Right? Hide all the power in the weakest link and make something else look like the most powerful one where all the power would be assumed and presumed to be. Courts are all about that. They tell you. It's all about assumption, presumption. Are you assuming I'm the most powerful in the room here? Fool. That's why.
If you're going to do all that, you can. The best plan to have afterwards is construct a court to,
No, I would just deal up the clerk all the time. Just make it send notice to clerk. I don't deal with morons. Powerless.
How did you figure that one out anyway?
I don't know. That's part of the evolution. Because here's the thing, people used to come up to me and say, "Oh, the court, the judge didn't even sign it. It's just a stamp and everything." The judge doesn't have to sign it. He's a useless tit. He's just getting the big money and carrying. He's the biggest actor in the room. He's the one making it look like he's the all-powerful one. That what he says matters. Nothing that judge says matters. It's the agreements you get into with the clerk that tear you down.
That's hard to get across to people, though.
Oh yeah, well, especially the belligerents. They, the ones that I'm going to fight my parking ticket. I'm going to do it. Go ahead. You know what? Listen, if you're going to play in the game, and you don't know who you are, whatever. If you get a ticket, pay it. You're a slave. You don't know who you are, so pay it, or you're going to get yourself hurt. Or figure it out. There's your options. Figure out who you are, or shut up and put up. Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, slave. Get over it. I could make it more difficult. I could be nicer about it too, but why? I'm just telling you the truth. If you can't handle the heat, then stop starting the fires. But I'll tell you, for anyone going in to fight, quote, parking tickets or whatever, for me that's just if you're going to play that game, go in with the right intent. Go in there just to learn. Go in to have some fun. Go into with the attitude of win, lose, or draw. Who cares? What's the worst thing that's going to happen?
You have to pay the ticket.
You pay the ticket. And that's it.
It becomes more like a nuisance, It's like, well, am I going to play and, juggle around and this or that, or am I just going to, be inconvenienced or.
Well, here's the thing. If everyone decided, win, lose, or draw, if they just said, okay, well, no problem, win, lose, or draw, I'm going to take this $20, $50, $100 ticket, and I'm going to go and book a court case. One day's worth of tickets would chew up a court for a year.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it would.
If everybody just decided all at the same time to say, you know what, they're going to keep the schedulers busy full-time 24/7, 365. That's called a paper jam, and you're not. They say, well, we're being paper terrorists. No, that's what you guys are.
Terrorists.
Well, it's funny. They come out with these things and they say, well, you're this, that, and the other. That's the mirror. So when people come out and try to tell me, you're just being egotistical and this, that, and the other, and I'm just sitting there going, really?
Well, they throw things out there to see the reaction from you.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry you feel that way. I don't, but that's okay. No one's been harder on me than me, guaranteed. That's why I'm a tough nut to crack in that one, because you better be harder on me than I've been, and you ain't going to get there, I promise you.
Yeah.
I promise you that. I have went up and down me with that chainsaw for a lifetime. And yeah, I've got a few things still to, I've got to get the fine chisels out and, hone some edges and do a little sanding and whatnot. But that chainsaw has already carved the majority of the sculpture that I'm looking for.
I'm careful of that chainsaw. Mm-hmm. You go wielding it out there. Well, it's like you have bruises on your hands. Somebody says, "Where'd you get all them bruises?" Like, well, I had to hit myself a few times, and
I had to beat myself up a lot. And it wasn't self-defeating. This is the thing. People say, well, if you're getting down on yourself, you're just being self-defeatist. I said, no, you can look at it that way for sure. You're absolutely right, and most people would. However, how about we look at the other side of that mirror? How about I'm shaping myself? I am that rough-hewn piece of wood that I am taking very sharp chisels to try to get down to the beautiful sculpture that I know you are and me that is hiding inside that. And this is, you can be your own masterpiece, and you're the only one that can really carve your own masterpiece. What we do collectively is we offer tools. Well, this is a number 6 chisel. It's good for smoothing out around the eye lines and making the fingernails perfect and all the rest of it. It's a really handy tool. So I'll get you. You haven't got one? Well, here you go. You've got the number 3, which is the rough one, which I still need to take some stuff off the edges around my ankles, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm talking about. These are the tools that we share. We don't share. I'm going to carve you. We share the tools in which we carve ourselves.
How about this one?
Sure.
It's a funny little synchronicity one, but isn't it funny how when you do something shitty and somebody says, "Oh, you deserve it," and then when you do something really good and you've gotten something really good, and they're like, "Oh, you deserve it."
Yeah. Well,
you're deserving of something you did shitty, and you're deserving of something when you get something good. It's like, which is it?
It's both.
Yeah.
It's a perfect duality.
Yeah.
That which you do good and good things come to you, and that which you do bad and bad things come to you is exactly what you deserve. You want a Kateism? And I've said this to people before, many times in my life, especially ones that have done things to me that I would never do to them. I just look at them square in the eyes and I say, "May you get exactly in life that which you deserve."
Yeah. That's what resonated with me when you were talking with me today, and you were put out there. That's like, do in life what would you do that?
Yeah.
And I said before, and I'll say it now, but in the past when I overspoke and had things come out of my mouth, it really hurt people. It was really hurtful stuff, really hurtful words, and I knew what I was doing. That was my intent to do. I wanted that person to be just feeling like shit, and if they weren't, just so hurt that they would never ever approach me in that way again. And I lost a lot during those times, but it was hard looking back recently and saying, I hated myself for that.
But look what you got from it. Look at the beautiful mirror perspective of that's something you would never do. There are many things in my life that I've done that, and I said this to you as well, I do not regret them. Regret is guilt. I do not regret them. I accept them on the terms that I will never do them again. And that it was not my true intent to harm someone. And if it was my true intent, I know it came back. Or it's still coming. So
how do you do that, though, not have a regret? That's tough for me.
Well, that's, again, for me, regret is something that says the lesson is still not learned.
Oh, okay.
All right, so there's still something about it that you haven't confronted. I mean, I could look back on my life and say I got a lot of regrets. I wish I'd have spent more time with my mom. I wish I'd spent stuff like this. Yeah. But here's the truth: I spent exactly the amount of time with my mom, my dad, everybody that I had to in order to interact, for them to get what they needed from me, and for me to get what I needed from them.
That's very mean.
Well, there's no regret, you see. A lot of people will say, I got here. I'll tell you this, and this one took a long time. I think this is probably one of the key ones with me. I remember the day I got the call. It was November 14th, 1987, 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. I got the call from the hospital that to come quick. Your mom won't last much longer, and I got in my car, little RX-7. That's my toy at the time. How old was I? 23.
Anyway, an RX-7?
Yeah, a little Mazda.
Cool.
Yeah. The girly sport car. I love them.
Yeah. Well, anyways, my sister had one. But.
Yeah, well, they were actually designed for women. Believe that or not, isn't that funny? But anyway, that's for all you guys out there driving RX-7s. That was their market platform they went after, by the way.
Yeah. That's why many of them were on the road. I remember.
Yeah, I had 2 of them. But my little souped-up RX-7 the tires didn't touch the road from, at that time, it was my ex-wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, fiance, and they didn't touch the road as I raced up to the hospital.
That was a hard drive, I'm sure.
Yeah, a couple of red lights I went through too.
The world around you disappear?
Yeah, everything disappeared and there was nothing there, and just right there, and I got there and they had unplugged her 5 minutes before I got there. Right? Now, I had a long time to deal with this because my sister, as I found out, had got there just a couple of minutes ahead of me, so she missed out as well. My dad was there, and as far as being there when they did that, but that one sat with me for a very long time, and it took a long time to come to terms. At the end of the day, everything I needed to say to my mom and everything my mom needed to say to me had been said. So there was no need, there was no loss. And now I go back to the concept of the cocoon. Because it didn't matter whether the cocoon was there empty, it was just a shell at that point. The entity or the consciousness that was the spirit of my mom, that part of our consciousness, was still there. And
didn't feel angry at all about anything?
Oh man, I tell you, it's like
that's what I would. I mean, for some reason, I those moments when it happened to me, I just for some reason gravitate towards, I want to kill something or.
Yeah, don't kid yourself. I'm Irish. I had my own war going on inside. I spent a lot of my time in anger. So yeah, absolutely. Oh man.
Wow.
Well, here. You just inspired me. It's on the board tonight, and I had a couple of people ask about it. I was going to play it last night, but I'm going to toss a tune on. It's a new one. You guys haven't heard it yet.
Yes. Thank you so much.
No worries. And this is a song I wrote shortly after. It took me a little while to write it, but it was shortly after my wife and I had split up with the situation there, and of course, this was I think the second or third week that 1 week with me, 1 week with her mom, with the girls, right? So this is, I think, the second or third week that I was going through with the girls getting picked up and watching them drive away. I wasn't going to see them for a week, and of course having them with me all the time, every day, and going to tuck them in at night and tell them, read stories or whatever the case may be. Now it was, instead of being all year, it was only 6 months, right? So, and to give you an idea of this will give you an idea of what it means to me and what was given. Okay, I'm not making a hero out of myself or a savior. I need you to see this viewpoint. This is all this is. It's observation. I want you to see how valuable the truth is, and what some of us are willing to do to share that. And for me, it's only a matter of, it's there. It's paid for. I'm just trying to give it to you, and I'm trying to show you what it's really worth, and what some of us are willing to do. And for me, and I've said this many times, I consider myself getting off light at this point compared to so many others in terms of getting it out. So I'm one of those in the middle people, because I can come on the air and really share the experiences with other people in the hopes that they won't get it.
So and those emotions too,
Oh, I mean, absolutely the emotions. But again, this is about, can you see the truth and the value of it? So this is, I give you an idea. Since they raided my place February 11th last year until today, I've seen my girls for about a total of 12 to 15 minutes as a result of my brother-in-law passing away. For a few minutes I saw them, and there was no speaking. I saw them at the hospice where he was just before he passed on, and at the funeral. And that was it. That's all I've seen them in the last almost year and a half. Okay? So with that in mind, the song is called Why Daddy Cries. Ready to go? We're rolling. Why Daddy Cries.
Pulls up in the driveway like she's done nothing wrong. It's Sunday night and the girls are packed again. It's one more week that he'll be missing, one more week he won't be kissing his angels as he tucks them into bed. She'll be talking more arrangements, just more words that he won't hear. All he's doing now is holding back the rain. It takes everything and then some to pay this weekly ransom that a cheating wife and best friend make him pay. He watches as they back up, then slowly disappear. Strains to see them one more time with blurry eyes. He makes his way back up the driveway, hoping no one sees the tears, and inside he hopes they know why Daddy cries. Why Daddy cries, he's lost a piece of heaven. Why Daddy cries, it's time he'll never see, until he has them home again and safely in his arms. The only reason, that's why Daddy cries. He walks into the bedrooms and he feels the emptiness that was full of life, not 5 minutes gone. He listens for the echoes that only he can hear, doing time for someone else's selfish wrong. At night when he's not sleeping, he'll get up and walk the floors. Out of habit he will check in on the girls. It's when he sees the empty pillows, he becomes the weeping willow. In a forest lost, he's in another world. Then the questions follow that will ramble till the morn, and will haunt him every minute of the day. It's the days that he'll be counting, one by one, to give him peace, knowing soon his girls will be home with him again. Why Daddy cries, he's lost a piece of heaven. Why Daddy cries, it's time he'll never see, until he has them home again and safely in his arms. The only reason, that's why Daddy cries. He'll be waiting in the kitchen, he'll be staring at the clock and wondering if she'll be late again. He'll be watching out the window till he sees them down the road. It's only then he'll cry a different kind of rain. My Daddy cries, he's lost a piece of heaven. Why Daddy cries, it's time he'll never see, until he has them home again, safely in his arms. The only reason, that's why Daddy cries. Until he has them home again, safely in his arms. The only reason why Daddy cries.
Beautiful.
There you go. Some of the they're the one-on-one studio takes. Generally, a lot of these that I have are first takes. And John, I have you in the call. All you have to do is join the call. I saw you trying to call me during that. So all you need to do is text, and I will bring you in. So
none of the active chatters there were mentioning the song. I think you had some of them in tears.
Well, yeah, that was
emotions, those darn emotions.
To write, but again, it's like, you know, I look at the gift of being able to confront it, and you know, it's been said to me many times. You know, the best songwriters are the ones that have been through the shittiest things, right? And it's only to get those perspectives and why so many people can resonate with it. This is what I found over the years, and what had occurred with me mostly was people coming up and saying, you know, that's exactly what I wanted to say. I just didn't know how to say it, and you know, that's why a lot of these great songs that are out there that you resonate with, and there's been many in my life that, yep, you nailed it. That is a very common emotion that, you know, people can relate to if they've been through it. So yeah, it's the gift and the curse all at the same time. All at the same time.
It is, yeah. I explain that in the same way a lot of times. You know, gifts being curses in a sense. You know.
Well, they have to be both, right? So that's my attitude anyway. It has to be both because it's the same coin. How are you looking at it? How are you? Where are you standing? Are you standing at the equator or on both sides at the same time, watching? I'm talking vertically and inverted, okay, to see the planet turn in two different directions at the same time, or if you chose to be diametrically in duality, opposed to yourself by being at the north or the south, or choosing to only stand and look at it from one position. That's the tough part, and that's the parts. Oh, no, micro headset, just trying to figure it. No problem, John, it's all good. No interruptions, my friend. It's what, you think this is like intense radio or something? I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, it's intense in terms of, you know, things we talk about, but no. We're pretty loose here. It's like, you're not going to get the Alex Jones effect of, hey, you know. Wake up! Yeah, don't interrupt me. You know, that kind of shit. No, please do. I like being interrupted sometimes. Actually, you know, the only time that Colleen was, she nailed it the other night. The only time I have an issue being interrupted is when I'm in a download, because it actually feels like somebody hitting me with a 2x4 or a bat. No. You know, it knocks me off that connection. It's sort of like. You're reaching over to you plug it in, and somebody keeps smacking your hand and unplugging it.
Or the needle on the record, and they touch it and bump it and scratch it.
Yeah, and you'll never hear the song the same way, right? So I've opened up Carol's line there. Sorry, I meant to open up earlier, hon. Sorry about that. How are you doing tonight? Carol, did I catch you off guard? There you are.
Yeah, you caught me off guard. How you doing tonight, sweetheart?
Yeah, good.
Good. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Carol. I was on mute. I do that when I stop talking. I mute myself.
Well, he's a radio guy, and so are you. So it's like, this is force of habit.
Yeah, it is.
Well, nice to have you join us, honey. What a good call tonight. Great. I'm going to mute back out, sweetheart, and enjoy the call. I love you.
Oh, okay. Well, I was hoping you were going to have something to say, but there you go. Fine. Huh.
No, I'm just listening tonight. I'm taking it all in. Thank you very much.
No worries. Here, we got ninjas jumping in. So please, guys, jump in with me tonight. You know, it's a beautiful Sunday night here. I'd love to have as many people as possible join in. We got 45 minutes left, and let's just make this a song of songs, shall we?
Yeah.
Ninja.
Hi, Kate.
Hey.
Hi, Michael. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
We need to announce something, too, so I'm going to let you do it.
Okay. Well, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you for playing that wonderful, beautiful, touching song, and, yeah, lovely.
Yeah, that's kind of the effect it always had on people, especially when I played it live. It was, that was, one, not a very easy song to play live.
Yeah.
And especially a lot of the writers that, you know, every week we were together, right, and they knew what was going down, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house anytime I played that.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, especially in today, this day and age, there's so many broken families. It's such an epidemic, and that speaks to it so eloquently and poignantly. So yeah, well done.
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, that can be anybody, and it can be from both perspectives. Why mommy cries or why daddy cries, it doesn't matter. You could change daddy to mommy. And
well, yeah, and in the listener's mind, they already know who they are. That of course, so yeah. And
what role they're playing. This is it's a very poignant song in that it points out both sides of that same coin, the cause and the effect of that cause. And is that something you would or wouldn't do again? So that one goes pretty deep. That's a deep psychological. Anyone that hears it, especially ones that have caused that sort of thing, it won't sit well with them. It won't.
Oh no, they'll have to think about that for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and rightly so.
You're an artist,
Yeah.
What was that, Michael?
Just when you're an artist, they refer to artists that, on a canvas, when the painting is done, it's kind of, you can see where the artist's head was at.
Mm-hmm.
You look at a painting and say, oh my God, it's beautiful. They must have been in this place in their mind. And in other paintings, there's like, whoa, wow.
Wow, did you have the piano wire around your neck when you painted this one? That kind of thing. Right? We were laughing about the piano wire thing today.
Oh yeah, that was cute.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Katie the Garot of Gaia. Don't run too fast at me. It's all good. And that's the thing too. All things put aside, it's if we can't stand back and have a giggle at ourselves at the end of the day, we're not playing well. No matter what the situation. Now look at some of the situations that we've got ourselves into over the years, and these arguments over absolutely trivial things and stuff like that, and then you see how intense you are about it, and or vice versa, the other individuals like, what are you on? And we've been both sides. There's no getting out of it, no getting away from it, right? And if you think you want to, then you better check that ego at the door, because you're not letting go. That's a control thing. You need to let that go.
Yeah, there's parts of the movie of your life. There's parts of it that you're going to cry. And there's parts where you're going to laugh like hell at what you did,
and cringe. And
and want to erase.
Yeah, we're going to get rid of that. We'll lose that from the consciousness. Thank you very much.
Editor, please.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to edit that out. Damn.
But it's there. But it's there, though.
Yeah. Well, see, here's the problem. We all have to live with our own director's cut.
Right.
Yeah. There's nothing on the cutting room floor here. So, best that you start getting into that process of when you're creating your movie from this day forward, start thinking at it from the director's cut, and make sure that because everything you're shooting, every scene you're shooting in your life,
mm-hmm.
none of it's going to the cutting room flooring. It never did, and it never will.
Right. And
you're going to have that movie. So it's best to look at it for what it was, because it happened for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Good and evil, even all the great things that you think. Well, here, prime example. Here's me thinking I'm doing all these great things by shutting down credit card companies, shutting down this, and law firms and all the rest of it, helping people, get wealth as far as lawsuits and whatever, divorces. And at the end of the day, when I look in the mirror of it, I go, oh, I was actually hurting them, because I was helping them to procure skin. So of course I got what I got. That's what I get for being a slave trader. Bet you can't say, well, I'm talking in general, third party. Bet you can't say that. Can you admit to being a slave trader or human trafficker? Can you? I can.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. Is it something I will do anymore? No.
Yeah, I could admit to that.
Yeah, new terms. New mirror. Yeah. And only when you can't admit to it can you actually turn that mirror around and go, okay, well, I'm not going to be doing that shit anymore. I'm going to move on from that. Thank you very much. And it goes back to the only two questions ever that I ask. Is that something I would do or something I would not do? And it's so simple.
Yeah.
And also, here's the joy of it. It gives you full responsibility in that choice. Because you're being decisive. You're not wishy-washy about it. I didn't say, is that something I might do, perhaps if this was this situation and that was that and I could get away with it. No, it's would I do it or wouldn't I? I leave myself no gray area because I am the gray area.
Well, there was a time where I sure didn't think before I said and did it.
Oh, me too, all of us, I mean, these are the reconciliations of ourselves. Actually, it's funny, I have a song called Reconciliation. I should have had that loaded up. It's a song without a chorus. I used to experiment with a lot of different concepts and story songs and whatnot. But maybe I'll load that up for tomorrow night. I have another one I wrote for, inspired by my oldest daughter, Emily, just the way she looked at me, and of course, it was for both my daughters. It was just that moment that made me realize, looking into both her eyes and what it meant for me. So if you guys want to hear that, it's a song called Pretty Eyes. I think I loaded it up. You guys into that?
Pretty name too, Emily. I know a girl named Emily once.
Yeah, that was Mom picked that for her, and I picked Hillary for the youngest. So they're and actually it's kind of neat because they both have very interesting names as I dug into it a whole lot deeper. And of course, my oldest is Leo and my youngest is Virgo. So there's a Sphinx right there for you. How's that?
Well, I don't know their history, Kate, and I don't know your history with everything. I get the feeling that someday they're going to be in your life more.
Oh, I agree. I totally agree. I've got something to do first, and until
don't know when, but
No, it's not a matter of if. It is a matter of when, and I'm strong enough to bend because they're worth it. So are you guys. This is the thing. If you can look at it from the perspective of what I do now, for everyone, myself included, see, here's the thing. When I say everyone, I mean me too. So don't ever separate me from this because we're doing this together. I'm part of you as you're part of me.
Right.
Because everyone is that important. And I think for me that was the only difference. That was really the only difference as to why I decided to walk this particular road. Because I saw it pointless otherwise. Because why would it make sense to me to have a great life and all the bells and whistles and my kids brought up great with all the best of the best of the best and while there are other children suffering?
Yeah.
What kind of a being would that make me? And at the same time, because staying in the system as it is right now, it creates a perfect divide and conquer where eventually my kids would have to confront someone else's kids on a not so nice level.
Maybe someday you'll get to see that movie of what happened if you would have turned right instead of staying on the path. Yeah. And you'll get to see why.
Well, that's kind of the goal here. So I'll play Pretty Eyes. These songs, these are rough cuts, guys. These are just like one takes in the studio. So I'm going to adjust volume as required, and I've passed a couple over to Zach already, and I do want to do a great big shout out for Zach of verdictproductions.com, who does all the video, puts all of these shows on YouTube. You can go to YouTube Synchronicity channel. He's put all my tunes into video, YouTube video format, and of course Giuseppe of Lightworkers Media, who has been a stalwart of support as well, getting these shows out and sharing the information far and wide. And this is how we're doing it together. And I got to tell you, for the longest time there, I didn't know that Giuseppe was doing this. And of course, Greg of In5D, he's doing it as well. A lot of these things that were going on, I wasn't even aware of. And that's the whole thing about planting these seeds. We get them out there, and they go. They just go. Ninja, what I was going to ask you to announce was the setup of the new WordPress page before I go to the song.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. Yeah, I set up a new home for Kate online today. It's called Kate of Gaia in the Mirror. And everybody can find that at a link I'll post in the Skype room, but also it's kateofgaia.wordpress.com.
Just like that. See the magical things that happen? And these are the things that absolutely blow me away. That's the joy of never expecting anything. And all these beautiful things start showing up. And shout out to, I hope I get the name pronounced right, Ghislaine had sent over a donation. I cannot, this is the thing, I just never have words when people do things. And I think everyone knows by now how reluctant I am to ask, and for obvious reasons. And I never see my biggest. If I do have a fear left, my biggest one is being tainted as someone that's out just digging. No. And I assure you, anything that comes this way will be transmuted and used in a perfect spiritual sense, in a matter of survival, basic necessity, and transmuted with absolute love. So thank you for that. Yeah, I've still got this month's unit rental covered, so I'm good. It's peace of mind, guys. That's all it is for me. It's peace of mind. It's just one more thing that I don't have to worry about, and I'm hoping that I can get over to the unit at some point in the very near future to pick up. I've got boxes of CDs, countless hours of recordings, digital masters and stuff that I can load up some more songs and get them shared as quickly as I possibly can. So that this is what you're helping to save. Isn't that neat? You're helping to save the songs, because there's only the pictures and the songs I care about, nothing else. Because they're all the photographs that I have, everything is in that storage unit, and pretty much every bit of music that have been recorded to disc and what have you, and on reel to reel is stored there as well. It's quite a catalog, I assure you. And I just want to share that as well. So in the meantime, what I will do is I will share the song Pretty Eyes. I'll adjust the volume as it goes, because I don't know how loud it'll be for you guys. And once they go on YouTube, once Zach finds the time, thank you so much. I'm not assuming you're doing it. I'm just grateful when you do, but it'll come out in stereo and it won't be all garbly and what have you. Blog Talk doesn't destroy stuff. But anyway, we bear along with it and just take it for what it is. So here's one from my daughters. It's called Pretty Eyes. Pretty Eyes for my daughters, Emily and Hillary. Yeah. I've actually been on a nice tear lately. This is off the live album.
Pretty eyes, mazed and filled with wonder, what a friend I have in you. Pretty eyes, what a spell I'm under, so much so there's nothing I won't do. Since you showed me there's more to you than meet your pretty eyes. There's more to you left to find behind those pretty eyes. Pretty eyes, your smile incites affection, melts a heart, and heals this old one too. Pretty eyes, the windows left wide open, lets me come in from the cold to feel brand new. Since I've known you, there's more to you. Your first breath told me why. It's more than pretty eyes. A daughter's love is what you'll find inside. Now close your eyes with kisses of a butterfly. Be still, I'll be waiting when morning finds again your pretty eyes. Pretty eyes, what a spell I'm under, so much so there's nothing I won't do. Since you showed me there's more to you than meets your pretty eyes. There's more to you left to find behind those pretty eyes. Yeah, pretty eyes, amazed and filled with wonder, what a friend I have in you.
Yeah, just a little garbled, eh?
Just a little.
Yeah, well, hey, that's why I want to try to get these uploaded. I do have a page. I need to talk to Giv and Cynthia and see if I can get the codes to that page and get it uploaded. I do. You guys probably know the page I'm speaking of. I post a link every so often for. It has 15 songs there. I'd like to increase that to a lot of songs, a lot more than that for sure. But
great tune nonetheless.
Yeah, well, you know, I need to grab Sherry here. Thank you, Stephen.
I'm going to be on mute just for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, no worries.
You know.
No worries. You carry on there, my friend, and the show's on the road. So we got Stephen in the call now, and we have Sherry coming in as well. How are you guys?
Doing very well. Had quite a busy day, and just enjoying relaxing, listening to the flow.
Yeah, it's just a nice little, I don't know, it's more like a meandering than a flow, yeah?
Yeah, just like a mountain brook meandering down through the levels of the forest.
That's pretty much it, you know? And by the way, anytime you guys want to get into a call, don't worry about trying to call me. Just text me direct, like one-on-one, and just say, yeah, pull me in, and I'll bring you guys in. That way, because if you try to, you can't call in externally. I have to bring you in because my Skype line's already hooked up with the show. So that's for anyone in Skype, whatever, that wants to jump in with us at any time. Leave those doors wide open. All you have to do is just give me a quick little text saying, "Kate, pull me into the show," and I'll bring you in.
You mean just text you on your Skype?
Yeah, just text me on my Skype direct and just say, just pull me in, Kate, and because I have it open all the time, so I'll see the recent, as it pops up. So I'll when I'm not in one of my zones that I've closed, I look up. Oh, there's like 7 Skype things. I better check that, and that's when I figured out. So in that regard, I would say, please be patient, especially when I'm on the air. Otherwise, I'll see you right away. So, Sherry, are you there, hon?
Hi, yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. You just had me blubbing my eyes out again.
Oh, sorry about that. It wasn't my...
Oh, you touched something so deep. It's just amazing. You're showing me the way home, and I'm so grateful.
Well, how do I answer that, Cher? You know, this is the thing. It's like, how do I answer these things? I don't have words for it. I really don't. I have gratitude. That's all. That's the only thing I can feel is just gratitude, and that goes both ways. It flows so intensely out. It's a confirmation for me in that I got as deep as I could at that moment, and that gets reflected in others feeling that. And that is the victory for me. That is the victory of a song. And I don't mean I won yet. No, that's the victory of getting the message across where it really if it hits home with you, it came from home from me. You know what I mean?
It's not just the music, though. It's just everything that you are. You are so transparent, and it's just absolutely beautiful. I just sit back and I revel in you. It's like you just wash over me, and when I look at you like that and who you are, it's like some part of me is remembering who I am, and it's very deep. And I've only been listening for about 4 months, and you're taking my breath away.
Mirror, mirror. Because the key word you use is transparent. I want people to look right through me. I want them to look as deep into me as they can and actually see nothing.
I see you.
Right. That's the point. And if you can see that, look at you. That's your mirror. That's all we are to each other. We're just mirrors. It's a two-way flow here. This is the heads and tails of the same coin when we're interacting with each other. I think we would be better communicators with each other if we came at it from that perspective. And that is the true ebb and flow of, I'm going to let you have what you have, and all I would ask is that in return, golden rule. And I think, I've had my pitfalls for sure, probably more than most, of not allowing that. And this has been my internal evolution to come to terms with that. And as a net result, this is not about lifting someone else's veil. This is about dropping your own.
Yeah.
As much. And that's what I'm trying to do more and more every day is become that much more transparent, where that veil becomes non-existent, where it returns to the beautiful shimmer in the void. That's where we truly are in creation. And we got into it a bit last night as far as the pitfalls of this illusion. This is someone else's idea of a construct that we are flowing our energy to unknowingly. But we're starting to know now that although this is our creation, it wasn't done with our knowingness, as it were. This is a tough one to really bring across. In as much as this is, quote, someone else's creation, it's also our own, right? Because without us, this could never be created. So it's almost like we're the players and someone else is directing. So what I'm trying to do is get myself back into the director-spectator part of the movie, where I'm not effect to, the other half of me, i.e., the all-knowing powerless, me, the all-unknowing powerful, right? So it's a tricky little dog to go around, take for a walk, but it's starting to get comfortable, and I think as the days progress here, these ideas are, and it takes a while for some of these bigger downloads to sort themselves out. Will start to coalesce, and as Steve had said earlier, it will get into a more, instead of trying to be a raging river, it will become more of a meandering flow, and where it's calm enough, and we're not fighting the rapids, and we're not fighting the waterfalls and what have you, where we get a better view of it. We can see both banks at the same time, as it were. And,
absolutely.
Yeah, it works for me anyway. So again, we're all learning together here. That's always been my premise, and I don't know any more than anyone else. The only thing I know more than anyone else, just like you, is me, and what my intentions are, and what I try to do. And again, this has been a growing thing with me as well. I think if there's anything to be shared in that is, I've always been harder on me than anyone ever could be, and all I'm trying to do is share with everyone what I have really no words for this, what I've been through, and not try to bring it across like, oh, woe is me. Been there, done that, got the T-shirt, right? To come across more as, what is the value in what we've been through? Can you look at the value of it instead of looking at it with vengeance? Can you take the extreme beauty of it of the lesson. Did you learn the lesson, or are you going to have to learn it again? I'm just choosing to learn the lesson from the only one I know best of all, me, and of course, I'm going to look out to you as my reflection to see where I need to adjust the helm a little bit to get better centered in that river and avoid the rapids and Scylla and Charybdis, of course, and hopefully have enough people that are kind of in that same boat, same mind, that are drifting along ever so calmly with me, and I with them, and again, I go back to the tools analogy earlier, right? I'm not here to try and carve you. What I am trying to do is say, I carved myself with this, and this is what I got from it. Would you like to borrow that tool? It's yours. I don't need it anymore. I already used it. It's yours if you need it.
Well, I've been in your toolbox now for the last 4 months, and I'm using them all, and I really have to say this now, and I'm on the finer tools. And thank you, Kate.
Thank you, because without you guys, I wouldn't have been able to take the chainsaw to me as thoroughly, and that comes as a reflection that I give out, and I do listen. When people, I want to make sure I'm getting the right message across, and any failure of communication of my message is not your fault; it's mine. So I will try to fine-tune that where, okay, they didn't quite get what I was meaning, so I've got to say that a bit better next time, and I'm not going to take it personal. What I will say is, though, the failure on communication, it's a two-way thing, and if I have the intention of delivering a communication and someone else doesn't quite get it the way I meant it, well, they got it the way that they thought it was meant, and they will hand it back, and if it's not resonating, then there's something I have to do to take that chisel and just chisel a little bit more to bring it back around. Okay, well, I know where you're coming from. That's not what I meant. So my communication failed in that regard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fine-tune it from my end because, quite frankly, it takes two to dance. But I asked for that dance by saying something. So I'm going to take responsibility of that lead, and I'm going to chisel a little bit more, and hopefully I can get it across the way my intention really, really meant it to be, So I hope I explained that.
There you have, and just one more thing I'd like to say is that the tune, the thing that you're doing, whatever you're doing, is doing it to me. You are. I'm not very good with words, and I find it very difficult to speak. And being dyslexic all of my life, I've woken up and I've seen all these different things, and I never felt smart enough. I never felt worthy, and because I just couldn't read and write, and all this law and legal stuff, and so many terrible things I've witnessed just in my own life and that of friends, and I feel helpless. But listening to you, Kate, is that I don't feel helpless anymore. I actually feel me. I feel it's like washing me clean, and I'm finding myself, and I'm seeing all the things that I do, and I know all the steps I've got to take, and it's like it's a joy now. Instead of fear, the fear's gone. Perfect.
And you know what I'll say to anyone that's dyslexic or doesn't know how to read and write and is potentially or is left-handed. I have two words: lucky you. And I go back to it was the Elf Transmissions where I read this, and it was a very defining moment for me, and it really helped me sort out a lot of stuff instantly, because there was a lot of things that were sitting on the edge, not on the fence, not sure which side it was going to fall on, but I'd stacked up a ton of them, all these little beautiful Delft ornaments all on the fence, and one side was filled with rock, and the other side was, feather down. So you wanted to make sure it fell on the right side, or you'd lose it, right? So here's the line: that which is wrong with, or that which you think is wrong with you, is actually that which is right with you.
Yes.
And that, for me, was a very critical turning point. It was a pivot. Because I always knew the mirror was backwards, and what that said to me was it was I considered almost an absolution of the mirror. And because I'd always felt that. I always felt that things, for me, everything was backwards here. But you're always looking for that one resonant truth that will ring with you, but someone else has to say it. Can't be me, because, I'm only one half of that balance. So I'm looking for either that one thing to change the directions of what if I'm on a wrong path, or to confirm that I'm on the right one. And as I posted earlier with regards to someone that had mentioned about, I mentioned about getting back home to playing music, and music will take me home for sure. And the only answer I had to it was, I'm following the yellow brick road, and I had to take this detour, because if I hadn't, I'd never have met you. How cool is that shit?
Oh,
very
amazing.
Cool.
This is amazing.
So tell me I made a wrong turn somewhere, please, and I'll tell you. Yeah, right. See, this is what I'm trying to get across, that everything you've done and everything you're doing is absolutely perfect. It's got you trained exactly. You did it for yourself. This was your path. It's got you exactly in position to see everything you need to see if you choose to see it. And the hardest thing to see is that which is hidden and that which you are afraid to look at. And as I've said before, the system has done a masterful job of hiding all the truth in all the places that we're afraid to go. So I just said, okay, well, I can take a march into the Vatican basement. I'm going to right to the Pope on this one, and the Queen, and the President, and the Prime Ministers, and all the rest of these guys. No point in talking to the corporals. They can't do shit. You might as well talk to their masters. And yeah, there's masters above them, and of course that's the realm I like to play in. And I'm playing there with no vengeance. That's the difference. I'm playing there with a mindset of, I've got something to create, and I know all of you do, and this is really all we're seeking is that ability to get back to that creation, and we are so very hungry for it. We've had enough of garbage. We've had enough of what's going on, and we are the ones changing ourselves, and in the process, we're changing the world. So don't underestimate yourself. You are the most important, most critical piece of the puzzle in this game. We all are. Because without you, we'll never get a full picture. And that's all I'm trying to do, is get people to accept their puzzle piece, their responsibility and their role of what they're supposed to be doing. And you'll probably all be very surprised if you look around. You'll see that you are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Isn't that fun? And you'll know. Everything you've done is for a reason. Everything. There is no stone that needs to be unturned that's not already unturned for you if you can but see it. And that's it. We just have to have the willingness to have the eyes to see and the ears to hear at the same time. And I do want to do a shout out to Raven and Otis. And isn't it funny? This one's for you, Otis. Check this out. So I'm looking at your name, going, "Oh, that's such a cool name." And then I saw the two words in it. And when you understand that the word die, D-I-E, is Latin for day, okay, as in the light, the light, right? So isn't it neat that if you take the word outside from outside the box, you have outside and you have Otis die, so Otis daylight. And of course, you're one of the shiniest bits of daylight that shows up every day. You're a walking sunrise, my friend, so thank you for that. So many of you are. And again, I have to say thanks to Randy. What beautiful comments in Facebook and everyone. And don't get me wrong, if I don't get back to you with some lengthy answer, if I give you a heart, I'm trying to acknowledge that yes, I love what you said. I love you. It takes forever for me to try to type a Facebook message because it's like it constantly reboots the page every time I hit a letter. I'll write a word out and I have to go back and edit it and stuff. So it takes 5 to 10 minutes to write half a dozen words. And you think I get a few messages every day. If I were to try to write out what I want to, it would probably take me about 20 minutes per message, and I'd chew up between 200 and 300 minutes just answering Facebook messages. I still haven't got to my email. So I guess I'm just asking everyone to bear with me. I do see your comments. I do appreciate them more than you know. The thing that inspires me the most, and I believe it was Ninja, you brought this up to me today, that it might have been Michael. One of you guys did anyway. the thing that inspires me the most is seeing you inspired.
Yeah, that was me.
That was you, Mike. Okay.
But it's very meaningful.
It's true that if there was a way, and I hadn't really thought of it that way, in that particular shortness, but that's exactly what it is. When I was talking to Ninja with I think close to 60 Facebook requests in the last couple of days, where some people go, oh, look, I'm popular and this, that. No, I don't look at it like that at all. I look at it, wow, look at all the seeds, look at everyone waking in this, everyone's getting it because, we're gathering. This is not because it's coming to my Facebook. I'm looking at it as, my Facebook is just a table to me. And all are welcome, and the more the merrier. So I think, what's the maximum you can have? I think 5,000 on your Facebook, and then you have to open up another one kind of thing. So I'm hoping to have to, because you guys are so amazing, I'm going to have to open up a couple of hundred pages while Harley Davidson goes ripping by. Anyway.
That was a close one.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because the road's probably about 300 meters from me, so I'll give you an idea just how loud that bike really is. But anyway, a lot of those around here. So you guys want to hear another one?
Sure.
Okay. It's been a while since I've heard it, so it's really neat when I visit old friends. It's like you fall in love with them again. So I think I'm gonna throw Rescue on that one okay for you guys?
Sounds good to me.
All right, we'll throw on Rescue. I kind of already told the story about it, but I think it speaks for itself. So here you go, Rescue. All right. Okay, Rescue. Here we go. I think if we get people emailing in, they can decide whether this song makes the album or not. All right.
Take my hand, rest your weary heart a moment. One last stand for what you've always dreamed of. Here I am, an island in your stormy waters, and rescue. It's just a word away, it's just a word away. I've watched you try, I've seen you spread your wings to fly, without a place to land, not so much as one horizon, but you push on through every wall that still surrounds you. Set down your stubborn pride, it's a friendship I can't hide, so take my hand. Rest your weary heart a moment. One last stand for what you've always dreamed of. Here I am, an island in your stormy waters, and rescue. It's just a word away, it's just a word away. You think that I don't hear you when you say you'll find that's true. It's what you cannot say, it's your eyes that give away. I know when my friend's hurting, that's why I'll share the burden. I've been where you are right now, I'm still there, still learning how. So take my hand, rest your weary heart a moment. One last stand for what you've always dreamed of. Here I am, an island in your stormy waters, and rescue. It's just a word away, it's just a word away. Take my hand, rest your weary heart a moment. One last stand for what you've always dreamed of. Here I am, An island in your stormy waters, and rescue is just a word away. I said rescue is just a word away. Hey, it's just a word away.
I hate when it does that. So it goes sort of like this. This is the ending that you don't hear. There you go.
Was that live?
Yeah, I just played that, yeah. Well, I wrote the damn thing. I better know how to play it.
Has anybody ever approached you and asked you if they could record any of your songs?
Oh, yeah. Never really got around to it, so. Yeah, I was just
I'm thinking they might.
I was trying to how do you put it? I remember how the song went as it was going, so I'm like, I'm playing along here. Actually, I should. We're coming to record very shortly. I got 6 minutes here, but I just want to do the shout out for criticalmassradio.co.uk. Paul, Lisa, you guys, everyone at Critical Mass Radio. I got to tell you, it almost brings me to tears every time I get to say this every night. May not always seem it, but this comes from the center of me. The gratitude and what you guys have done in giving this platform to all of us. And I've said this to Paul directly and Lisa. You guys have changed the world, and I need you to know that. I don't want you to believe it. I don't want you to think it. I need you to know it. I see it every day. I see the results and the difference that you have made. This is but one seed that you planted that created an entire forest of apple trees, not an orchard. So, anyway, so I was, I don't know, can you hear that okay?
Oh, yeah.
So I was playing along as it was going to see if I could remember it, so let's see if I can get the chorus. Take my hand, rest your weary heart a moment. One last stand for what you've always dreamed of. Here I am, an island in your stormy waters, and rescue is just a word away. And I say rescue is just a word away. It's just a word away. That's how it's supposed to end. There you go.
Very nice.
Yeah. So I think one of these nights very shortly. I'm surprised I actually picked it up at all tonight. I tell you, the way this energy started today and the way it's ending is absolutely stunning. So thank you all, because that's the energy coming in from you. And it's so true that we do this together. And I can't be more grateful. Oh, Steve, there you are. Okay, I was wondering. Steve dropped out. Yeah, all you have to do is just if you're in the call, just rejoin the call. So I'm just
back in.
Yeah, you're back in.
Okay.
Okay. There we go. So Izzy, I'm going to bring Izzy in as well. So let me just pull you up here, my friend. And this is how tough it is. Okay. Ask and you shall receive. This is what this is about. And if anyone in the call has any comments I want to make, we've still got 13 callers in here, and we're going to roll into the recording in about 3 minutes. Just hit one on your keypad, excuse me. And
hey kiddo, I'm here. I want to make a comment.
Well, hey, that's why your mic's always open, hon. So just jump in at any time.
Thank you, dear. Michael said something about, has anybody ever approached you about recording your music? I hope I don't create a firestorm again by making a comment, but anyway, I've thought so much about that because your music touches my heart so darn deeply. I've cut myself off from music over 30 years ago because my heart was so broken. And you have reached into a place I haven't been for many years, and music was something very important to me. And I don't know how I would feel hearing somebody else sing your music, because there's something about the vibration in your voice, the genuineness, the way you handle your guitar and the music that you play. There's just some kind of a vibe that I get from you that I don't know that I would get from somebody else recording it. I just wanted to share that with you, and you know, not that it wouldn't be beautiful, you know, because what you've written is beautiful, but your voice and your ability with your guitar and your musical instruments really touches me deeply. There's something etheric about it, and I love you so much, and thank you so much. And thank you so much for the people that provide this forum for you. I'm very, very grateful.
Absolutely, and I do concur with what you're saying. For me, for someone else doing it, I would just take that as a compliment. I consider myself a singer, not a vocalist. A vocalist would be someone like Michael Bolton or Celine Dion, or, you know, these beautiful sonorous singers that can, you know, take it up and down, like Roy Orbison and Freddie Mercury. These people that just, their voice is like a prima donna instrument, you know. The kind of things that I look up to, you know, that, you know, how many times have I said it, boy, I wish I could, you know, just do that note the way I do it. It's, you know, I've got my own limitations, but at the same time, I have my own creations in my own way. So I'm going to go both sides of the coin on that.
Yeah, it would be kind of a good thing for both sides.
Yeah, because with me, there's nothing I love more. I mean, most of the music you hear on the air is performed by people that are not the writers.
Yeah,
that's a fact. I know it. That's why.
Most of them, yeah.
That's why, you know, people like me are such a commodity in the music industry. The writers, they're 10 seconds. Love this. Yeah, they're the excuse me. The writers are the ones that take the lion's share in terms of royalties or whatever. Because, you know, singers far outnumber writers. That's a fact, and that's not to make less of singers, and it's not to make more of writers. It's just a fact of the way it is. So,
50 different artists are do it 50 different ways. It's still going to be the song, but the unique to yourself, when you do it, it's going to have that uniqueness and original flavor. So. Well,
yeah, it's like, you know, when I was talking to Steve the other night regarding Dan Fogelberg, one of the reasons why, and this is, I guess, out of the writer's nature of me, is I'll always say that no one can ever do it the way a writer does it, performing, you know. And there's I know some writers that excuse me, are not singers at all. You know, they'll get the melody ideas across to people and whatever, and they'll tell you that they're not singers. So they might write beautiful tapestries, but won't get much further because and they'll tell you because they're just not able to sing that which they're producing, and that's okay. And those are the ones that want to get someone that's got the voice to do it. And again, it's a very, very choosy sort of thing. That would be my understanding anyway.
You know who comes to mind and actually comes write and sing well their own music is Manilow.
Yeah.
I think, that's a songwriter that's just, whoa, you know, off the charts and can also sing it.
Absolutely. You know, and these are the ones I look at and go, yeah, I wish, you know. But
we ought to throw Chris Christopherson in.
Oh, hugely.
Oh, yeah.
And go back down through it, you know, Crosby, Stills, Nash, Neil Young. I mean, Neil Young, there's a prime example of a guy that's not the prima donna vocalist, but he gets his message across, and he does it beautifully. Bob Dylan, another one that, you know, certain songs or way he sings things might, you know, grate on some people's nerves, but he gets his message across, and it's pure, you know. So I mean, there was a bit of a debate with him of late anyway about someone that actually had written most of his music for him that's coming into the fore. I'd love to cover that story sometime just for fun. But anyway, that's not a good example actually, so I'll take that one back. But to go back to Carol's point, I've heard a couple of my things sang by somebody else, and it was really neat to hear it and the treatment, and it was most certainly a very different vibration, a very different energy, and that's why for me to do any cover songs, there is a couple that I will do. One of them that is one of my favorites, I wish I'd written it, and it's right in my genre too, is Rocket Girl, and great little tune. I can relate with it, and a song, if I was to cover it, has to be something that I could have written. That's why in my way of thinking, that's why I would cover any Dan Fogelberg song, because one, I would have written it. Two, it's in that same sort of vibe that I write in.
Rocket Girl. Oh, I'm no Rocket Man, but
yeah, Rocket Girl. Why can't I think of his name? Great writer too, and performer. I played with him a few shows anyway. Come back to me. Anyway, well-known Canadian country artist, younger guy, and just writes great songs. And that song was actually done by another band. He didn't write or perform it himself. And
there is both sides of the coin, because when you hear an artist do a song, and have you ever been driving down the road and you hear a remake of it that someone else doing, it's like, what?
Yeah,
ruined it.
Yeah, you're thinking that totally destroyed it. And then I think I'm trying to remember this, but there was a country album put out with a bunch of different country artists that had covered Rolling Stones tunes. Mm-hmm. And they did a great job. And my first reaction was, wow, was it ever great to hear a Keith Richards song actually being sang by someone who can sing.
Yeah.
And that's no harm to mix a performer, he's not a vocalist. Sorry, guys. Hate to say that. He gets the job done. And he's part of a beautiful collective unit. And the proof of that is he went out and tried to do a solo album and it flopped. Because he's not a vocalist. He is a Rolling Stone frontman, and that unit together is a powerful, powerful entity. And Keith Richards writes great songs.
I like your Field of Broken Dreams, and I imagine you on stage doing it just, acoustically with a guitar, and then in another set, I can imagine an orchestra behind you. That version of it.
That was kind of the game plan, to get into orchestrating it with strings and full orchestra.
What did you think about that? Having an orchestra behind you,
It would honestly, that would blow me away. I mean, if there was something I'd love to experience, is being able to sit there with an acoustic. I'd be shaking in my boots, I'll tell you that much right now.
Violin playing, harps.
Yeah, I guarantee you though, I'd be shaking in my booties.
How about Rod Stewart, the one of the big names of rock and roll, but you put him into the big band or the Frank Sinatra era, and he just nails it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, and that I totally get, because like Rod Stewart is not someone that I ever really liked listening to sing, but I could hear him doing that genre to a T. I always felt that he was a bit misplaced in the music he was in, but
he smokes it.
Yeah, I believe that, because he's got that voice for it. It's like with me, my particular voice is better suited to musical theater. Right? It's how do you put it? Anyway, I'm not pigeonholing myself or anything else. That's my first love. That's what I wanted to really do, was musical theater. But as life would have it, I get to spend my time with you, and that is like way better. And I mean that.
Well,
I do.
Life's just starting.
Isn't it great?
Oh yeah.
It's
a journey, man.
I said to my daughter when she was very young, I said this on the air, there's 4 words that you're going to learn to say to me fairly often, and they're the only 4 words I'm ever going to need to hear from her. Dad, you were right. And I know that sounds funny coming from me, but you know what I mean, right? So, hey, you can't help but be one, right? So it is what it is. I was going to have 2 daughters any other way, boys and girls, so that's all I ever wanted in this life was 2 daughters, and I got them. So I'm very, very blessed and very gifted that way, so I can't be more grateful. And time, that's all it takes. Time heals everything. And we're all doing a masterful job right now of getting the job done, and all we got to do is hold this vibration. That's why I have such admonishment for any form of fear porn, negativity, because it's so very easy to get caught back in that whirlpool of Charybdis, and that's how I see fear porn. It's Charybdis run amok.
It's a good point you brought up about holding your space, because, gosh, I've spent, I'm 55 years old, so I've been around for a little while and seen all this transpire, and all the frustration of trying to engage the world just to get knocked around, and then disengage and go to the woods and then re-engage, and trying to make sense of it all. And it's just been in the last maybe 10 years starting to get the feeling that I came here just to hold my space and hold the energy in my space. And now everything's moving by the speed of light.
Absolutely. Did we lose Izzy? It's so very, it's such a very easy concept to say hold your space, but it's so very difficult to do because a lot of that self-doubt comes in. And just want to see. Sorry guys, I got distracted here. Just want to make sure that Izzy's in the call. Did I get? Chat room. I brought Izzy into the chat room, so I'm gonna try to bring you into the call, my friend, again. And yes, this is the Gathering of Angels, Sherry. Absolutely. It's funny. That's what I called the Love and Stuff room. Originally, was called the Gathering of Angels. So, but I am going to pick a night this week, and I'll grab my guitar, and we'll just sit around and have a little Kaylee on the air. How do you feel about that? Tell Susan to bring her spoons.
Cool, man. I might even bring my harmonica.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Jump in. I'll make sure I'll pitch it for you, because you said you got a D harp, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so I can.
Of course, when it's Susan and I just in the living room with the tunes on, and we're dancing on the hardwood floors and playing spoons and harmonicas, we really don't care what key it's in.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, what tonight reminds me of is I remember as a kid used to, have a bunch of lawn chairs just sitting out in the driveway with a bunch of friends sitting around. We were like 8, 9, 10 years old, and we just sit out at night in the driveway for hours and just talk.
Well, I went out this morning and I got done planting my cucumbers and my dill, because I make some of the best homemade pickles you ever ate in your life.
I believe it.
And got the mower out, cut the grass, and I finally got the trimmer out, and I cut all the stuff up from around the fire ring that's out there in the front of the yard, because the grandkids are coming over this week, so we can have our fire out there and sit around and tell stories. They're 5 and 6 years old, and last summer we started storytelling time.
Oh, excellent!
Around the fire.
And
that's what's amazing is I'll start the story, and then Grandma will pick up on the story, and then it'll be Jalen's turn to put her 2 cents in, and then Dace, and I'll tell you what, we get some great stories going around that fire.
No doubt. And that's where we're going to, guys. It's now we're creating again instead of being an effect of all this nonsense, and the veils are coming down. And as I said in the beginning of the show, the most important veil to bring down was my own. If I can't show you who I am, and that was a big war with me, by the way. I should bring this up. Here was the conflict with me. Now, shortly after that Judge Bao's video came out, that war inside of me intensified. And I'm going to get real personal with you guys for a second. I'm going to show you how transparent I am. And the war within me was, at that point, I wasn't, quote, out, unquote, or out of the closet, as I like to call it. And, someone's got their mic open and it's feeding back. Just mute your mic out. That would be great. That might be you, Izzy. There you go. There we go. And here's what the war was. Now, I had a lot of people that were coming to me, and I was having, once a month kind of meetings at my place. We just gather over the summer and I had a big yard, so we'd get anywhere from 50 to up to 90 people there. Just hang out for all day Sunday, and we'd talk about solutions and paperwork and stuff. Back in the early days of the movement, and when we thought that mattered. Now, it worked at the time. Little bits and pieces worked, and people were getting victories, keeping our egos intact that we were winning, and it really mattered that we were doing this. But what was really ripping through me was the fact of who I was and who I knew I was, and eventually I didn't have a choice. I would have to be me. There was no question at the end of the day. And the war for me was simply this. I've got all these people that are, looking to me for whatever reason, and I'm sharing what I can with them, but I'm also sharing with them a lie, because I'm not being completely honest with them as to where this truth came from and who it really is they're talking to. So that was a major conflict for me of honor. How can I honor them when I can't even honor myself? And how do I stay in honor? So this was a universal choice. This wasn't something that was just willy-nilly to me. This was, if I can't tell you who I am, then why should you listen to a damn word I say? Because I'm deceiving you as an illusion. So, and really, it was shortly after that I said, I've had enough. And I got to tell you, I've never seen so many people head for the hills in all your life. But it had to be done. For me and the ones that actually got it and were okay with it, eventually they rolled off one by one, especially after the whole house thing went down. That was, again, part of the marginalization of me to scatter everybody, and they did. They ran like like you would not believe. And that was fully expected. That was the intent the system had, was to disperse any form of support. And of course, if they're attacking one, everyone thinks, well, I don't want that to happen to me, so I'm getting the hell out of here, right? Instead of standing two, they headed for the hills. And that's what's been happening to us for a very, very long time. What we're seeing now, especially with all you guys listening in right now, what we're seeing now are those of us that said, no, I'm standing the post. Screw that. Because I don't want to have to go through this again. I don't want to have to keep doing this over and over. I used the example the other night with Eric here. I said, here's what we're up against. Now, I've got this beautiful quartz crystal. It's top of a stem crystal, white quartz. Excuse me. And it is consciousness. There's no question. And when you look at it up and down the sides, it's almost like this digital imprinting of all this information and everything else. But what it is ultra condensed consciousness. And I said, okay, well, this is consciousness, and you can choose to be this consciousness, and you're going to last a very long time, guaranteed, almost infinitely in this form. But how much cause are you going to be at? And then we can go to the other side of the equation. We're kind of, we're still in a state of consciousness where we can create cause. And how far down are we going to get pushed? Because everything we see in this universe that is what we would deem to be physical is consciousness that has been beaten down and slowed down to such a degree that it's solid. It's solid consciousness. And the only effect or cause the floor has is to be able to push up and it's also at effect on. Oops. I hope that wasn't me that got bumped. Who did we lose? You still on the call here?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yep. I just want to make sure we didn't get knocked off.
Looks like Michael, he's trying to call back in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just making sure there. But that's really what we're at. Do we want to maintain our consciousness in a causal state, or do we want to be at effect? And what you guys are telling me is that no, you want to stay at causal and shift this forward. And in doing so, maybe rescue some of this solid consciousness and bring it back to source. As it was said the other night, with regards to, it looks like something jumped out there. I hope we didn't get bumped off. I'm just checking.
You're still there.
Yeah, you're in the call with me, so you will be. It's we're still rolling. Okay, good. Carol, you can hear me. Ninja, you can hear me.
Yep.